Welcome to the third video of a 7-part segment where we're going to get into the 7 tips for what you should be doing when you are dealing with the police. My name is Zachary Divelbiss. I'm a criminal defense lawyer in Phoenix, Arizona. These are some very important tips because everyone might encounter the police at some point and you need to know how to deal with that situation. An encounter with law enforcement is a stressful, even frightening experience for most people. The following guidelines will help you in your dealings with law enforcement in most situations. And if the encounter evolves into arrest, please contact an experienced criminal defense firm such as us so that way we can discuss your case with you and give you some options to get out of it. This is very important. The third tip here that we are going to go over is clarifying the nature of the encounter. This is a very important tip. One of the easiest ways to get out of being arrested, hopefully, or out of this scene. So clarifying the nature of the encounter goes like this. There are basically 3 types of police encounters. The first is an arrest based on probable cause. The second is detention based on reasonable suspicion. And the third is consensual contact. So when approached by a police officer, it is critically important to ascertain the nature of the encounter. How do you do this? You ask. The police will tell you. You ask the police officer, the first thing you should say is, "Am I free to leave?" If the answer is yes, politely remove yourself from the situation, legally, as in not speeding off or peeling out or anything like that, or birding or anything like that. That is offensive. So politely remove yourself from the situation. If, when you ask, "Am I free to leave?" the answer is no, then the very next thing you ask is, "Am I under arrest?" If the answer to this question is no, and the police says you are not under arrest, but you are also not free to leave, then you must stay there. This is very difficult because you are technically detained, which means you're not free to leave, but you're also not under arrest. So very difficult for you as the layperson to understand where these lines are. And then you should at that point be alert and be prepared to invoke your rights. These are your rights to remain silent and your rights from unreasonable searches. We'll get into them in a bit here. But ultimately, at this point, you say, "No, I do not want to participate in any further questioning, and I want a lawyer." You do not actually have to have a lawyer show up, but you have to say those magic words. So a very important rule here. Number 3, clarifying the nature of the encounter. The best thing you should ask, "Officer, am I free to leave?" If they say yes, please leave at that point in an orderly fashion. If they say no, that you are not free to leave, then at that point, it is best to say, "Well, am I under arrest?" Keep in mind, we still need to follow rule 1 in this video series, which is to be polite. You should not be rude about this. At the same point here, it is okay to repeat yourself a few different times, as long as it's reasonable. So if you ask, "Am I under arrest?" and they say no, and 5 minutes go by, and you ask again, "Am I under arrest?" and they say no again, then at that point, it's probably a good idea to ask again, "Well, am I free to leave?" And if they continue to say no, that's fine. You are not allowed to just up and leave, but at least you are invoking the first parts of your rights. You're understanding the encounter, because the moment they do say that you are under arrest or they start asking you any other types of questions, you invoke your rights to remain silent. This is a very professional and legal conversation that you can have with the police. Understand, I say conversation, but it is not a back and forth. You are asking a question and getting a response. You are not explaining where you're coming from, where you're going, what's going on in this type of situation, or why you're under arrest, or anything like that. You are simply asking if you are free to leave or if you are under arrest. I hope this third part here was very informative. The next few parts are going to be very critical to the overall success of whether you are going to be arrested or released when you come into encounters with the police. So please stay tuned. And if you have any questions about this or you're experiencing this yourself, please contact us for a free consultation.